Good morning, everyone. We are now live streaming. Welcome everyone to this meeting of the General Purposes Committee, and welcome to those who may be watching us on YouTube. We're not expecting a fire drill this morning, but if we do, please follow the usual instructions, and I'll be first out, so just follow me. I move now to item 1, which is the minutes of the meeting held on the 30th of November, on pages 4 to 9 of your agenda pack. I just want to add in that we made 2 recommendations that both items be brought back to either general purposes or overview and scrutiny for monitoring, and they will be coming back to overview and scrutiny within the next 12 months work programme. So does anyone from the committee have any questions on the minutes? No? All in favour, please show your hands. Anyone against? Any abstentions? Yeah, 1 Julie, as Jacob wasn't here. Thank you. Item 2, apologies. I see we're all here, so I guess we have no apologies. Thank you. Item 3, declaration of interest. If members have any interest to declare, please do so. If you don't do it now and we get into the meeting and you think there is something you should declare, just let us know. Thank you. Item 4, urgent business. I have none. Item 5, non-members wishing to address the meeting. Welcome to all our visitors today. And we move on to item 6, which is the review of the polling districts and polling places 2023. And I'm going to ask Teresa Smith to present the report, and we have Sue Daniels here to support her.
Thank you, Chairman. So I'm here today to present the report to you on behalf of Rory Ringer. Section 16 of the Electoral Administration Act 2006 introduced a requirement for local authorities to undertake a review of their parliamentary polling districts and polling places every 4 years. The review of Breckland area was completed in the autumn of 2019. Subsequent amendments to this legislation by the Electoral Registration and Administration Act 2013 now means that all local authorities must undertake a review every 5 years, and the current round of reviews must be conducted between the 1st of October 2023 and the 31st of January 2025. Breckland commenced a review on the 1st of October 2023 with the publication of the Notice of Review of Polling Districts and Polling Places 2023. Notices were placed on the Council's website and at the Council offices, along with press releases inviting electors and interested parties to submit comments. As part of that review process, acting returning officers are required to make representations to the local authority on the existing polling stations and the polling stations that they would likely to be used on the proposed arrangements. And they were also published on the 1st of October, and a consultation on these proposals ran until the 17th of November 2023 and are shown in Appendix 1. During the consultation, 3 submissions were received, and they are summarised in Appendix 2. So the report asks for members to agree to the following recommendations following the review of the polling districts and polling places within the Breckland Council area. And the recommendations are to adopt the polling districts and polling places as listed in Appendix 1 to this report. Recommendation 2 is to note that, by law, the location of polling stations is the responsibility of the returning officer, and to note the locations determined by the returning officer as listed in Appendix 1 to this report, which includes the following change. To relocate the polling station for polling district AL6, Parish of Merton, from mobile polling station on Merton Green, Merton, to the Thompson Community Hall, School Road in Thompson. And recommendation 3 is to delegate authority to the Council's returning officer to make any changes to the polling districts and polling places schedule within the Breckland area in between formal reviews, the next of which will take place in 2028. Thank you, members, and both Sue and myself are here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions from the committee? Councillor Taylor.
Every time. Thank you. I'm aware that South Norfolk are doing some reviews of some of their urban locations, and they're looking with respect to accessibility of their polling stations with reference to walking and cycling, because it supports their climate change work. Have you looked at any of that, or is that sort of tabled for review going forward?
Thank you. Yeah, we do look at accessibility. That's one of the requirements of the review. Specifically, we haven't looked at the cycling and walking arrangements, but all the polling stations should be accessible, easily accessible to those people within the polling district. And as far as us concerned, they are. There's no requirement in law for us to look at specific modes of transport. The only thing that we have to look at is to ensure that there's ample parking and parking for those who are disabled.
Okay. The recommendation is absolutely accurate, but we do note that Attleborough will have a temporary movement for 1 year while work is taking place to the current polling station. But that doesn't need to be in the recommendations. So on that note, now an officer can't make a recommendation, can't propose, can't second, so I'm asking for a proposer from the floor. Taylor, thank you. And a seconder? Thank you, Peter. So that recommendation is passed. Oh, sorry. It's the after effects of the antibiotics. All in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. So that recommendation is now passed. Thank you, ladies. We're now moving on to item 7, which is the HR policy review. And in the absence of Councillor Crane, who is at another meeting, Councillor Alison Webb is going to present to us.
I would just like to say that the HR comes under my area. It's the next one, sorry Linda, which is Councillor Crane's, but it doesn't matter. I'm here anyhow. Happy New Year, everybody. Okay, so as you know, we regularly review our internal HR policies at Breckland and have some suggested amendments for decision today. There are 4 policies and or procedures which require your consideration. The first is the disciplinary procedure. This has been streamlined to remove duplication regarding the appeals process, which is already set out in a separate appeals policy. The process for hearings has been updated in line with ACAS and current practice. In addition, wording has been added to enable the Council to suspend pay immediately after a gross misconduct outcome. The wording is, if the dismissal is deemed gross misconduct, the organisation reserves the right to suspend an employee pay from the date of the dismissal until the 10-day appeal period has passed, at which point the employment would be terminated, with the original date of dismissal still applying. This avoids a situation where the Council may inadvertently overpay an employee who has been summarily dismissed. The second is the capability policy and procedure, which has been updated with some minor amendments to streamline the policy and remove duplication. The process for management of capability has not changed, but the policy wording was deemed to be too lengthy and quite complex for managers and staff to navigate. Appendices have been removed from the policy document as these example documents are available on the intranet. The changes have created a simple and more accessible document, but the policy and procedure has not changed fundamentally. We have combined our family-friendly policies, which are maternity, paternity, adoption, parental leave and shared parental leave into one document, which is now called a family-friendly policy, which mirrors best practice in other councils in the UK. Whilst there are no fundamental changes to our maternity and shared parental leave policies, I would draw your attention to the proposed changes for paternity, adoption and parental leave set out in section 1.3 of the report. Finally, our right to request flexible working policy has been updated in line with the legislation changes which came into force in summer 2020. Oh, it's coming into force, sorry. We're ahead of the game on this one. Summer 2024. The Flexible Working Bill received royal assent on the 20th of July. The Employment Relations Flexible Working Act 2023 will enhance the existing rights for employees to request flexible working arrangements. Importantly, this Act does not create an automatic right to work flexibly. The right remains one of being able to request to work flexibly, but the Act does not amend the existing statutory ground for refusing a flexible working request. I hope that all makes sense. All of these policies have delegated authority to be agreed at GP. Natalie, our interim HR manager, is here to take any questions. Thank you very much.
So are you making the recommendation, Councillor Webb, please?
I would like to make the recommendation to do the changes in the... Oh, hang on, I've got to read. A recommendation to agree the following recommendations. Approve the reviewed disciplinary procedure. 2, approve the reviewed capability policy. 3, approve the family-friendly policy comprising maternity, paternity, adoption, parental leave and shared parental leave. And number 4, approve the right to request flexible working policy.
Thank you very much. Do I have a seconder for that proposal? Thank you, Councillor Walton. I'll now open the floor to questions before we take a vote. So questions from the committee. Nope, okay. I've got just one query. Under implications, normally we have a heading financial and there's nothing there, so I'm assuming there are no financial implications.
Thank you very much. So we've been really careful with our policy amendments in the wider context of our budget deficit to make sure that the improvements that we're making are either cost neutral or cost minimal for the council. The only sort of significant figure that I suppose you need to be aware of is the increase in paternity from 1 week to 2 weeks, which does have a financial implication. On average, if somebody requests paternity leave, that costs the council £734 per individual case. So very, very small cost. And in the last 3.5 years, we've had 5 requests.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Morton.
Yeah, just to say I support the recommendations. In particular, I think it makes sense to streamline the policies into the family-friendly policy, and also really pleased with the changes to paternity pay and adoption pay.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to turn for some legal advice now. So can we add that financial implication in to the report?
Well, obviously the report is the report.
Yeah.
So I don't think you can. So the report is the final version of the report. So to add it in would mean that you're amending a final version.
I'm just thinking ahead to budgets and things. We need to have that somewhere, don't we? Accounted for.
Could you not put an action on us to include that in the minutes? So not include it in the report, but actually to come back in writing to you on the financial implications?
Yeah.
As an action? In
Yes,
minutes?
that would be fine.
Just an idea.
Is that okay, Julie? Have you got that? Right. Okay. Thank you very much. So let's take a vote. All in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much. So those recommendations are passed, and there will be a note in the minutes to the financial implication. Item 8, to note that the next meeting will be held on Thursday the 21st of March, 10 o'clock in the Anglia room. And at this point we go to item 9, which is the exclusion of press and public, to consider passing the following resolution. That under section 100, bracket A, bracket 4 of the Local Government Act 1972, the press and public be excluded from the meeting for the following items of business on the grounds that they involve the likely disclosure of exempt information as defined in paragraphs 1 and 2 of Schedule 12A to the Act. Do I have a proposer for that? Thank you, Councillor Morton. And do I have a seconder? Thank you, Sarah. All in favour? Unanimous. Thank you very much.